Hi, and welcome to this episode of Zeitgeist podcast with Niklas and Flo. I'm Niklas.
Hi, I'm Flo.
Today we're going to talk about Airbnb. I think maybe some of you have already heard about it, but they have done a bit of a relaunch yesterday. And I think we started talking about it. Flo, you hadn't seen it before. You're using Airbnb quite a bit because you're also um, renting out a house
Yeah,
for
I'm a
it, I
I'm a
think.
host on Airbnb, but to be honest, I've never go to the website, so I didn't hear anything about new services. So maybe you can, tell us a little bit more about it.
Yeah, so what they basically did is now they go beyond what they have done before, and they are basically starting to also offer services on Airbnb. And if you look at the release, which I'm currently showing, basically, you can see that they reworked the app. They now have like three icons on top: homes, experiences, and services. And you can basically now book experiences. You can book, I think, dining as well. You can like book a tennis coach or something like that over it as well. They are really expanding their service portfolio to move into, yeah, I would say a different category than only renting out flats. They want to be with chefs, for example, photography, massage, spa, personal training, hair, makeup, nails, all these things that you can imagine. And the first thing I really noticed is they have these new icons, and they are very different from the icons we are currently used to. How do you like them when you look at it?
I think the homes icon looks a little bit cheap. Looks like I don't know, like a little farmhouse or something. But I guess it works at the end. Services experiences look good for me. But as I said, I'm surprised by this move. I like it a lot. Usually, if you want to, I don't know, book a photograph or like a chef or something, I wouldn't even know on which website I would have to look on for that. I would have to Google it. So having like everything in one place makes definitely sense. And I believe that in Japan, they use like one app basically for everything. This is at least what I heard. So I guess it makes sense to have like someone who's doing this for the US market. Is that also be a service which will be offered in Europe?
I think so. I didn't check yet, so I haven't opened the app. I just read the announcement early on Twitter. But what you're saying makes absolute sense. I think you have platforms like Get Your Guide or something like that, but they are still kind of specialized. They are not really that general. And Airbnb already has all the, it's a bit like Booking. Booking.com would probably be another one that could do something like this, basically, and have everything in one place. Um, yeah, and also for, yeah, probably experiences will probably be very competitive with a few other apps like Get Your Guide and so on. So I'm very interested how this will play. But actually, when you already have, or when you already booked your accommodation via this app, I think it's a really good starting point because you can basically get suggestions for all your trips, what to do, which services to book, and so on.
Yep, definitely. So you're a big fan of Airbnb?
To be honest, I'm usually on Booking, but I would love it to be a platform like this, to be honest. So,
I mean, I think that Airbnb definitely the numbers dropped a lot lately. I mean, they were on peak in COVID times because no one wanted to go to like a regular hotel, but still people wanted to travel. So booking a house or something, don't be with other guests around, made sense at this time. This is also when we came up with the idea of buying a house and convert it to a Airbnb. After that, I think now that a lot of people came back moving to like going into hotels because of the outrageous prices for cleaning fees and extra fees a lot of these Airbnbs are charging. So it's probably like a good timing for Airbnb to pivot a little bit, try to um, bring just a new story to get new clients on board and new users.
Yeah, I think the same. Once again, I think do you ever book Airbnbs when you travel, or do you stay in hotels usually?
I usually stay in hotels.
So, and which website would you use to do it?
I varies. I mean, I like to go through Hilton or Marriott like directly. I use Booking just to get like an idea about the area.
Okay.
Um, so I don't have like this one platform I usually use.
Yeah, that's interesting. So yeah, as I said, I use Booking a lot, but that's actually for the same reasons that you just mentioned. I usually prefer to have this experience where you don't have an extra cleaning fee and all these other things. I just want to book something and have a price, pay for it, and go there and stay, and then I leave. You know, that's the experience I want. I don't want to deal with all these other options and so on. It's too much of a hassle for me. I want somebody to take care of me.
Airbnb definitely makes sense when you go with more than just two or three people. We, for instance, like to travel with other families and friends. We're staying like with 7 people, 8 people in one house. So this makes a lot of sense. And then the price for each person is less than if we would book 2 hotel rooms. And then we're talking about like having a private pool or stuff like this. And then Airbnb becomes more interesting, I believe. It
Yeah, but
really
you have
depends on how long you stay and what do you need in your, you know, in like as an amenity.
so I mean these houses and so on. You can also rent someone Booking. I think from what I felt, the fee structures are different, and you will not find like private property. It will always be managed. I think the really large scale difference is that Airbnb comes from this I rent out my apartment idea, and Booking comes from the I build a platform above managed rooms, basically, or
Yeah,
managed accommodation.
definitely. I mean, our Airbnb, and we call it Airbnb because this is, as you said, like what they invented basically, and what the original idea was. But you can find our house still on Expedia, on Booking, and probably on 20 other websites.
And does it pay for you? Just asking out of curiosity. So it's profitable, it makes sense. Would you do it again?
Makes sense, yeah. I
Yeah,
mean, at the end, you're building equity, and so maybe, something for another podcast.
yeah, absolutely.
But it definitely makes sense. I mean, real estate is always something interesting, I feel. And, as I said, building equity makes in the long run definitely sense. And even if you just flip it and sell it to someone else, real estate always will grow in terms of prices.
Yeah, very interesting. Definitely for another podcast going back to it. Yeah. To me, this whole experiences thing, services, having it in one app makes a lot of sense. I think it's at least a great idea. We'll see how it plays. So that is probably also very interesting. And I kind of I find the design interesting because, as I said, the icons, they look more like the first version of the iPhone, if you remember, like the old iOS, these like 3D buttons that were there. Like, I think this is more like this, and it's very interesting style-wise why these choices were made. It's very different from the material styles that we have a lot today, I think.
Yeah, I will definitely check out the app right after this episode to see if there's something I need to book.
Yeah, that's interesting. So yeah, maybe we do another follow up in a few months when we see how it plays out and how we really use it. Definitely an exciting thing that's happening there, and I'm really interested in to see how this plays out. I mean, it's a very bold move into a huge market, so probably really interesting for Airbnb.
Yep, I agree.
So this was this episode of Zeitgeist podcast, and please like and subscribe.
Bye bye.